Hello everybody out there in Blog TV. Since I'm getting more into poetry these days, I wanted to record a few videos with my poetry and one of my favorite poems of all time. Well, I'll start out with my favorite poem of all time. It is The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Alright, here we go. Hopefully I do it justice. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volumes of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as if some one gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis a visitor," I muttered, "tapping at my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more." Ah, distinctly I remember, it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow. Vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease the sorrow of the lost Lenore. For the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here for evermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to the still beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. Some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This is it, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly I forgive this, I implore. But the fact is I was napping, and you so gently came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more." Deep into the darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the darkness gave no token, and only word there spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore." This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, "Lenore." Merely this, and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul with me burning, soon again I heard a tapping, somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely, this is something at my window lattice. Let me see then, what threat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when, with a many flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not the minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord and lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon the bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, perched he sat, and nothing more. Then the ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore, "Though my crest be shorn and shaven, thou," I said, "art sure no craven." Ghastly grim, an ancient raven wandering from the nightly shore. "Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." Much I marvelled this ungainly fowl to hear discoursely so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore, for we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast above the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such name as Nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour, nothing further then he uttered, not a feather then he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, "Other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before." Then he said, "Nevermore." Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, "Doubtless," said I, "what it utters, it is only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master, whom unmercifully disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of hope that melancholy burden bore, of never, nevermore." But the raven still beguiling all my sad soul into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself into linking fancy into fancy, thinking what the ominous bird of yore, with the grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore, meant in croaking "Nevermore." This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamp light gloated o'er, but whose velvet lining with the lamp light floating o'er she shall press, evermore. Then, methought, the air grew denser, perfumed from the unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. "Wretch," I cried, "thy God hath lent thee, by the angels hath sent thee, respite, and nepenthe thee from the memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." "Prophet," said I, "thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempest sent or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, whether tempest sent or whether tempest tossed thee ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on the desert lands enchanted, on the home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." "Prophet," said I, "thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by the heaven that bends above us, by the God we both adore, tell this soul with the sorrow laden if, within the distant Aeon, it shall clasp a saint maiden, whom the angels name Lenore, clasp a rare and radiant maiden, who the angels name Lenore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." By the word our sign parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked, upstarting, "Get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of my soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit thee bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from my door." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." And the raven, never flirting, is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have the seeming of a demon that is dreaming, and the lamp light o'er him streaming through the shadows on the floor, and the soul from out the shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. Whew. Okay. I know there was a couple mistakes in there, but that was only because I didn't realize that was quite going to take that long to read, and I almost did not get that done in the 10-minute time limit. So, comment on it and hope you like it. And didn't think I was going to have to read it that daggone fast. Well, thank you, and that is all.